Hey guys, I am back again. I wanted to show you the finished painted project. I'm still letting it dry on one piece, and then we're going to go ahead and assemble this and we'll be finished. So let me go ahead and just show you and give you some tips on how to paint these. This is the back part, this is the front face, and then of course here is the top and side of it. You're going to want to do a lot of sanding, okay? Now I told you that ahead of time. We started with 60 grit sand to get all the major bumps out of it. Then we went down to 220 grit, and then we went up to 400 and 600 grit, okay? You can do some more in between if you want to go like 80 and 120 and then 220. You're more than welcome to do that. But just keep stepping it up, stepping it up. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spray a little bit on here, like one coat. And when you spray on that one coat, you'll see areas that might be pitted and such. If you see areas that are pitted, you're going to want to respray again. I'm sorry, resand again. So you're going to take your sandpaper out, you're going to take it down and take out any of those bumps and stuff until it gets nice and smooth. And then once it gets nice and smooth, you're going to start spraying and continue to spray these coats on. And if you want to sand in between the coats, you can do that with some 220, 400, and 600. This, I decided not to spray or sand in between. I wanted to give it just a little bit of texture, which it has just a fine amount. It actually, the camera makes it look like it has more texture than it actually does. It's just a very little amount, and if you just wipe your hand around it, I mean, it's just enough to kind of feel something. It's pretty neat. I'm actually really excited about the little bit of texture that's on there. The person that this is going to, I'm sorry, not the person that this is going to, but someone that knows this person fairly well saw it and thought that they would like this finish better, and so we decided to keep it this way. Now let me show you. This was the back piece that was on here when we were painting, and that was just to keep paint out of there. If you take a look in this center part, you can see that does not look very good. The reason why is that's not sanded at all. So you can see a big difference, yet it still receives some paint, okay? You can see a big difference between that and that. This wasn't sanded, these were. In fact, you can even look down on the sides and see how much better it looks down here, because this was sanded a little, because when it was on the back over here, I would use the sander sometimes to sand between the two pieces, and so a little bit of this got sanded down at the 400 and 600 grit level. So so you can see the difference, and I wanted to show you that so that if you were getting this and you're like, I don't understand why, well, it's because you haven't sanded enough. When you're sanding and getting ready to paint, you should be able to feel most of the imperfections. So just run your hand around it very softly, very slowly, like this. I mean, I feel a ton of bumps on, but when I feel the nice smooth edge, it feels good. Feels nice and smooth. That's going to be the same thing with your Bondo when you have it. Once again, if you want to use a filler, you can use some fillers. But if you just keep sanding and sanding and sanding, you'll eventually get to a nice, very clean look like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this, let this finish drying on this. This top part's just a little bit wet still, and you can kind of see that. And once that dries, I'll go ahead and start assembling. We'll take the tape off, and we'll put in the port. I'll show you what type of glue to use for the port. We're going to glue these in, and we're going to hook everything up. One quick note about the paint job. Once again, you don't have to, inside the power switch, you don't have to paint if you don't want to. Some of this is going to get knocked out. Some of that you can see is kind of, that's still like a little bit of putty or filler that'll get knocked out when I put the switch in. That's fine. Make sure that when you're painting, that you're painting these edges, okay? And same with like the small 1/4 inch one. So when you spray paint, you're going to want to spray paint those edges real quick, and then spray paint over the outside of it. And once again, keep your spray can out whatever the recommended distance is, and go from there. Don't do a lot at once, just do a couple at a time, okay? The paint that we used, I'll show you that. This is the paint that we used. It is Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Paint and Primer. I went with a satin, and this is poppy red. So if you like this color it is. The reason why I chose a satin is because we're going to go ahead and do a gloss anyway. So there's a gloss polyurethane, so there's really no reason to do gloss and then gloss and then gloss. You can, just no real need for it. One thing I do want to say to you is when you start spray painting this, you might notice that some parts are taking more of the paint than others. That's okay. Don't keep spray painting the part that doesn't take it. Just leave it, let it dry, and keep going over it with a lot of coats. This right now probably has 6+ coats on it. It's hard to say exactly how many. I wasn't really paying attention, but it's going to take that many until it really covers it up and gives it this nice look. So don't be afraid and don't stop if you're not covering up part of it. Just keep going. Because if you spray a lot, you're gonna get like a droop in it, which looks like a run, and it's gonna run on down, and then you're gonna have to take your sander out and sand it down. If that happens, that's fine. Just take some 400, 600 grit sandpaper, use the palm sander real quick, go over it. I actually did that once on this top. You can't see it anymore. It was right in this area, and I was seeing if I could see it anymore. You can't. And I just ran the sander over it again, 400 and 600 grit. And then once I got that smooth, which once again I felt it with my fingertip, I sprayed it again. Okay guys, so this is how you paint it. And just once again, if you look at it, you don't really see the lines anymore, which is nice. And so you got a good, nice one, looks like one box now. And that's the end. All right guys, I'll go ahead and show you how to finish this up soon. Have a great night.